Okay, so I see Patrick is on. The first application is a return for 15 Martha Place. The board left off with doing a site visit. He did come back with revised plans. Do you want to
Family
share?
here? Oh, good. Please come in.
Yes, he is.
All right, good. So we did do a site visit, and I think I can speak for the board and say that we're okay with the fact that the vernacular of the house is so radically different than the neighborhood. But we do want to talk about the details of the house and the materials and the change from the first design to the second. So I think the focus is going to be on the design of your house, not, whether it's done.
Great. Yeah, if I can share screen, I can go through the presentation that I had sent through last week. Let me just get this started. Lost my mouse. Right, so we're returning to discuss 50 Martha Place. We had not received explicit requests for adjustments to the design, but we are taking in some of the feedback that we got from the last meeting and thought that we would try to soften up the design a bit from what we previously displayed to fit in with a bit of the local vernacular. Although you say it already does fit in given the previous design, we wanted to make a move to fit in a little bit softer. So we had made some adjustments to the proposal, the presentation, and we had previously provided this list of neighboring properties where we had looked at some of the homes in the area and their styles and finishes. And given this as a presentation to the board, I think some of the board members perhaps were out last week, so I'm happy to review this briefly if we'd like. But I've kind of marked on the key map here where these houses are located, situated to where we're proposing to build. The neighboring property, 84 Park, is just to the west. And that's one of our closest neighbors. And then 11 Martha Place is to the east, which we are our second closest neighbor. And as we get further on in the presentation, I've taken a look at one of the comments that the board made last week, which was kind of the relationship along the street and how these elevations going downhill relate to one another in terms of what the roof lines are and how the home will look situated next to 84 Park.
What's the plan for the road itself? It's really a gravel strip now.
As a portion of the zoning board review that we're doing improvements to the road to pave it, widen it, properly drain it, and finish it up to a certain extent, although the town engineer is hoping that we leave a portion of it that is not going to be drivable by code as an unfinished gravel portion. So it'll be finished up beyond 20 feet past where our driveway cuts into the property. I did include a few other neighboring properties that I think I had not shown last week, and these are 55 Dunbow, which is just over in the corner of the neighborhood, situated kind of deeper in the woods, as well as 63 Martha Place, which is just down the street at the end of Martha Place where it meets Wynwood, and 56 Martha, which is just beyond 48 Martha, which was previously shown. The site situation has not changed. I'm still locating in the same area. Taking a look at how the elevation, actually this would be a section through the homes would look, and trying to see or display how we're kind of following the roof line as it continues up the hill on Martha Place. This is a fairly steep hill. We didn't want to give the impression that we were going to be kind of dominating a presence over 84 Park, which is just the side of 84 Park. Their main facade faces the opposite direction, but we're situated in the same direction as 11 Martha Place. And we're kind of following that ridge line as it continues downhill. We are pushing it further to the east so that we can bias it towards the 10-foot setback and give a little bit more breathing room between ourselves and 84 Park. We did do a material and a slight facade change. So previously we've been showing a metal clad standing seam metal roofing that turned down into the siding. One of the comments we received that it seemed a bit dramatic, and perhaps it was dramatic in not just the material choice, but the cantilever. While we'd like to keep the cantilever, I think we can tone down the theatrics by going with this Eastern white pine finish, which will age naturally and kind of blend into the environment a little bit better. And then in the recessed portions that are kind of carved away from the mass of the home, we would go with the Shisugiban style finish, whether it's true Shisugiban or a coloration is kind of TBD, but we would still be doing the Eastern pine under there. And then a slate roof or slate adjacent material for the roofing, as well as a natural stone at some of these exposed portions at grade. We reviewed briefly the window wall ratio last week. This has not changed. And then we have the drawings, which we can flip through if you'd like to speak to any new comments on the design or questions about some of the changes that occurred between 2 weeks ago and today. Happy to talk about those.
I have a question. Has a structural engineer gone through this yet?
We're going through it with a prefabrication company who's going to be doing the structural engineering for it. So this is a modular house, correct? Yeah, but it's a custom designed modular house.
Sure. Yeah, obviously.
Yep. Who's building it? Did you pick somebody yet?
Yeah, we have a prefabrication company in Pennsylvania called Simplex.
So if you go back to the elevation or the 3D, it just looks like, well, a couple questions. How does the roof meet the facade? There doesn't look like there's enough room for a header above the windows on any of the windows. And then also I assume you're going to add gutters. That would change the whole look of the house too, I think.
Mm-hmm. We previously proposed hidden eaves. I think, given what you're saying about the header there, and also just some of the complications that come with that detail, with a modular home, we're going to be doing gutters along this line here. So we might have to either drop the windows down a few inches, or the gutter would sit right at the upper portion of that outside of the facade. So we'd have a line there.
You used to have a Yankee gutter, and now you're not. You're just doing a conventional gutter.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think that I say that in that it would change the look of the house, I think, because you're going to have gutters and leaders, and your proportions of how the roof is going to hit that is going to change. Is it also a cathedral ceiling everywhere?
No, we have, there is a vaulted ceiling where we have this main picture window, this triptych window. We have soffits or ceilings in the bathrooms, the closets, but the bedrooms do have also vaulted ceilings.
Right. And so since you have that ridge vent also, I'm not sure where the air is coming in to vent that ridge. There would be a soffit detail typically in a typical traditional house. So I don't know what you plan on doing for that. So again, I guess my points are these construction details would affect the look of the house from this very clean, crisp, modern detailing into something that's maybe different than what you're showing.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I do think that I'm going to try to stick to as true to the appearance that I've got here, with the exception of likely adding a gutter line along here, which would cause some adjustments to the windows, but I'm hoping we can adhere as closely to what we're showing here as possible.
Right, but I think by the time you add headers over those windows, that becomes larger. You add the gutters, you think about how the intake air for the ridge vent is coming in. It changes that whole detail. I'm not saying it couldn't be done this way, but I just don't see it from your drawings, that the house is ultimately going to look like this.
Right. Unfortunately, I think a lot of the technical details are being still worked out by the modular company. I keep getting pieces back on how they're proposing to build it, but can work through how that detail is.
And would there be a horizontal line where you're marrying the top to the bottoms?
No.
Okay.
The cladding goes on last. So
Okay.
the house comes with a just a membrane cladding, waterproofing and weatherproofing. And then we would put sleepers, and then the eastern pine that we would be putting on the exterior would be treated as a rain screen.
Oh, okay.
So where it would be seamed would be covered by however we stagger the pine. You're not going to notice that.
Right. Right.
So do we want to see drawings from the modular company? This looks very perfect in an artist's sense, and I'm not convinced it can be crafted exactly to look like this either.
Yeah, I think for the reason I said, the fact that if you're going to use real slate, that's going to be heavy. So I think all the structural headers are just going to become heavier than what you show here. Certainly there would be something across that triple glazed window that goes up to the there'd be something there to pick up the weight of the slate, I believe. No, I'm talking about the triple windows you have, I guess, over your stair.
Yeah. Well, within here, I think what's not seen through some of the sections, and as we work through it with the modular company, is there is a box that comes out and up from this window. So that catches a lot of the structure that's spanning behind these windows here. And that goes all the way along on both the north and south side, just above the window frame.
Okay, so am I to understand that there's a member, a steel member or a wood member picking up the roof line, but set back from the exterior wall?
Yeah.
Okay.
That sits just above the window, and then I don't know if it is within the sections that are provided here. Hopefully it is. So this would sit here and come out from here and up. And then this is where
I thought you had a cathedral ceiling everywhere. I mean, this section kind of makes me question if it's really been gone through with structure, because it looks like just 2x6 rafters there.
Yeah, we're hesitant to release the modular company to go through their whole drawing process until we've gotten some feedback from the architecture review board on the appearance and style of the home, because they charge a significant fee for redrawing and redesigning any elements. But
Sure.
I suppose once we release them, we can get these details as soon as they're able to provide them.
Yeah, I think we will require some more details, but I'm looking at, so I wasn't familiar, excuse me, with the Sugi bond siding. So it doesn't require any kind of trim or anything. I'm looking at some images online. I mean, it's beautiful. But it doesn't require any extra trim, or it's almost seamless. Is that what you're trying to achieve?
Yeah. It's a fairly low maintenance facade, and it is hardened by the actual charring of it.
How does the eastern pine hold up that's not treated?
The parts that's not treated with the Shisugi bond will still be those will still be kiln dried and pressure treated. They'll gray, and then they'll start to kind of fade and bleach in the sun.
Okay. I mean, I don't mind a modern house and amongst other traditional houses. I just think I personally can't accept, approve this without really seeing, because I don't believe it's really going to look like this. I think the details are going to make it look somewhat different than what you have here.
Well, if we can review and go through it as a group, and if we can come up with some sort of a design approval subject to seeing drawings coming back that look the same, or having a chance to comment on details that make it look different, would that satisfy you? That would give you comfort to release the modular home company.
You're
Patrick?
asking,
Yeah,
Patrick?
I'm sorry. Yeah, that was a question for me. I thought it was for Stanley.
Because I think the board is not comfortable with these really artistic renderings that none of us, I think, are convinced to look exactly like that. But if we can get to a point where the spirit of it is okay, but we do want to see and have a chance to comment on details that we think might, mar the perfection of this.
Yeah, I think if we can say that generally we're hoping to adhere to what we're looking at here with minor alterations to the windows and perhaps their alignment, which I do want to have a more clean and standard alignment. There's a few spots that I'd like to adjust slightly. Then we can release the modular company and start getting in detailed drawings that we can submit to the review board. I don't know if what you're suggesting sounds like, is it a conditional approval provided that we provide later drawings, which we'll be doing for the actual building department for our permitting, or is it that we would be returning for another presentation?
I think you're returning for a present. I'll speak for myself. I think you're returning for a presentation, but you should have comfort, and we'll go on the record that if it's consistent with this, it would be approved. But even I look at this, there's no edge conditions, there's no trim, it's just perfect. And I just don't believe you can achieve that either.
I'm looking at these images online. I can share it, and I'm surprised at the what they've achieved without any kind of details required here.
You're looking at Shisugi Bond Constructed.
I'm looking at this one company, RisonTimberCo.com.
Oh yeah,
Ikigai. And I think it's very similar to not necessarily your design, but to the detailing, which I wouldn't have thought this could be achieved. So,
yeah, I think the minimal appearance is achievable, probably with small alterations here. It's a difficult detailing, and I think what needs to be done is the detailing needs to be shown and discussed. And
yeah, like what are the insets of the window? Is that metal, or is that wood again, or little
it's a
that will need
black painted metal frame. and all of these
frame flush with the pine, or is it inset?
No, it looks like it's inset.
The frame comes out to the pine, but the jam and header and everything comes flush to the pine. The frame is recessed.
And the glass is recessed, yeah.
Yeah. And any of these kind of standardized size windows are casements. At the ground floor, we would have these sliding patio doors. And then these upper picture windows, these triptychs, are duplicated on the rear side as well.
Just one kind of wish list. It looks like you got rid of a column on the right corner. Is there any way to get rid of the columns on the left side, the west?
Unfortunate, this one here.
Yeah, I know. I'm not asking you to do that, but I just wonder, it would change the look.
No, yeah, I would love to, personally.
Yeah, I know.
Unfortunately, we have a point load due to how the home's being constructed and brought on site. That we have to have this column, and then within here, there's a spanning beam that would come down and carry the point load from the center of the home out to the sides.
Right. So I question just if that main structural member picking up the eave line of the house is offset from the exterior, that post really doesn't want to be there, I don't think. I'm not sure what's going on structurally. But yeah, I mean, I think overall, I don't mind the modern direction. I do believe a lot of the modern detailing you're doing as a rain screen can happen. You're going to have to build out that column to match the exterior face of the pine siding, I think.
Yeah.
Just because you are doing a rain screen.
Yeah.
But the whole eave line of the house, I think, is really not. I'm not convinced it's been thought out. So I definitely would like to see something more.
We can get detailing with our modular company and see what they can produce to submit sections through there. But perhaps the best course of action so that we can get back to you quicker, because the company takes probably 8 to 10 weeks to turn around the completed drawings. I would prefer not to wait that long to come back to you guys. Perhaps we can focus on a few key details and sections and bring those back. Then factor in how that might affect what the appearance along the facade is, and perhaps come back in 2 weeks.
Right. I guess we just simply put it, we need to be convinced that this is going to be that's going to look the way you are presenting. So that's whatever you can show us the details, but as long as we can understand, because that same thing when I look at this triple window without a header, I'm just curious. I mean, it's almost impossible. So unless there is some sort of, we just need to understand what you present. I also don't believe that it's going to look like that, because there needs to be some sort of member, I think. But so based that's actually our comment. It's not the style.
Yeah.
It's mostly if what you are representing is we are not convinced that it's going to look this way, and basically whatever supporting drawings, sketches you can present and convince us, or change the elevation if that's what's going to happen.
We want to look at the other three sides while we're together and see if there's anybody has any comment.
Sure.
This is the north elevation, which is the rear. The east elevation. This portion being clad with fieldstone. The north facade. And the west elevation. One thing that we had discussed at the last presentation was kind of the reasoning for this recess is to kind of break up primarily this west elevation so that we don't have a 35-foot flat facade, where we are giving a bit of play with the massing here. And again, the exposed basement space clad with fieldstone.
Okay. Oh, are we all good with the concept design subject to its execution?
Yeah, as long as we see more, and if there's some revision needed to the elevations, which I probably think there will be, I'm okay with.
All right, so when you come back with the drawings from the prefab company, but just make sure they had edge conditions and headers and gutters and leaders and all this stuff that, doesn't always go on an artist rendering, and, get comfortable yourself that you like it, and then share with us.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the sections aren't real and they have to be real for us to kind of see it.
But Patrick, you're saying that you don't think you'll get anything for over 8 weeks, but
8 to
because
10
I'm
weeks for
not
a
sure,
complete drawing
I'm not
set.
sure, I know, but I don't know if we can approve something that's not complete at the 2-week mark. So it should be as complete as possible. I mean, we normally approve things that are, finished, ready to build.
We don't need CDs for the entire house, but we do need real worked out elevations that include, the construction pieces.
Yep. Well, we'll release them tomorrow, get them started on their drawings, and then as we get something nearest complete, we'll submit it. And if we can push for certain details, typical details, and some of the atypical details that go into this home that can show its viability, and if any adjustments are required, we'll do that as quickly as possible and get that turned around.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm not placing him on the March agenda. I'll just wait to hear back from you, Patrick.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
definitely.
going to be having a meeting with our builders tomorrow, so we'll.
Our next
we'll
meeting
be
is the
doing this as quickly
2nd.
as possible.
Okay, our next meeting is the 2nd, and then there's one on the 23rd. So just send me an email or give me a call.
Okay, we'll do. Thank you, Daisy.
Okay. All right. Okay. Our next application is a return 59 Spring Valley Road. This was the 4-car garage that came to our last meeting, and hold on 1 second. The board has suggested adding windows, fenestration to the rear of the garage, and to provide additional 3D drawing of the corner of the garage. So, George, can you share your screen?
Yes, good evening. Let's see if I can do this. So the board had requested we added 2 windows. We're going to add a tow window here, but because eventually we're going to have the pool and the stairs, the window be too close to the fence. And this was a 3D of the area in the back. This little detail that we have, the reason that we have that there is in order to be able to get into this room due to the sloped roof. So that was the 3D of the rear that the board requested, showing the existing house. This is the deck and the pool and the rear of the house with the additional windows and showing the fenestration.
I'm sorry, I missed it. The whole garage is a new structure?
Yes.
Okay.
And last month, we didn't have these windows. So one of the comments from the board, and I do appreciate that comment, was that the rear of the garage, they look very, very empty. No windows, there was no windows. So we added these 2 pair of windows at the rear of the garage. And also the board wanted to see a 3D of the rear so they can understand how this roof works with the rest of the deck and why it wasn't necessary.
Can you share the rest of the elevations for the members that were
Let
not
me see
here?
if I can- Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop share and open the other drawing.
And you're on mute.
Once again, I'm looking for the old plans.
Yes. Oh,
It's 59 Spring Valley Road.
Spring Valley, okay.
this was that's the
Oh, so
existing
there were
house.
absolutely no windows. Okay.
Yes, there was no windows at all. Here's the garage. So this was the rear of the garage the last time. So we added the windows. And this is the other elevations of the garage sections. And this were the 3D of the front and on the side. And at the last time, we didn't have a 3D of the rear, and the board requested that we presented that. If I can go back to. So this is the additional work we presented today.
So the rendering has 2 windows.
Right, there's a door, a window.
No,
And we
above
have-
the bay, above the bay. The rendering has 2 windows, but the drawing has 3.
You're talking about the original?
What you have, what you're showing now. No. What you're showing now, the current.
Sorry. So when okay.
So above the bay window, you have 3 windows. Go to, on this,
Oh, yes,
on the
yes.
drawing.
No, this
Okay.
is, this was an omission in our, when we did the 3D rendering. There is another window there. That's an,
Okay.
this is all existing.
Okay, I think you did what we asked.
I'm all right.
You okay?
I'm okay with the garage. It's much better with the windows.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
Claudia,
okay.
that's good.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. You're approved.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good night. Our next application is also a return for Mentors Mediterranean Steakhouse. We had asked him to return. He had proposed flat vinyl lettering, and we had asked for similar to the Old Stone Pizza with engraving. Is anyone here?
Hello.
Oh, hi, James.
Hi.
Hi, can you share your screen?
Yeah. Okay, so after the comments of the board, went back to the client and explained that it had to be a V-carve sign. So that's what we went, that's what we're proposing. It's going to be 1.5 inch thick wood background. It will be a V-carve sign. Everything will be carved and will be painted to match the existing sign that was there with Spoon, as well as the neighboring sign. They have a metallic brass paint, black background, and the size will remain the same, the 2 foot by 16 foot. I think that's what we were just, pretty much asked to just go for a V-carve sign.
Carve the fork and the knife.
Yes.
No, how do you carve it? That's going to be carved. So
So if anything, when we lay it out, if we lose too much of the detail, we'll have to just paint in some of the.
you'll just take the fork and knife out, right?
No, we'll leave the fork and knife.
Oh.
We'll be able to carve it, but we might just have to highlight it with a paintbrush, just painting some
I see.
black in
I
to
see.
do it.
Okay.
But it's still a 6-inch area, so it's a pretty good size.
Mm-hmm.
So it just might be a less shallow carve, but
I'm good.
I'm good. Comments, anyone?
Yep, looks good.
Okay.
Yeah. Are these is there any lighting, or are you just doing some lighting from the spillover from the parking lot?
yeah, no lighting. we're gonna actually reuse the existing bracket that's on the roof for the spoon sign. So there was no lighting prior. So at this time, he was not going to add any lighting.
Okay, I'm okay with it.
Mhm.
Yep,
Okay,
looks
thank
good.
you very much. Appreciate you working with us.
All right, thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay. So our next application is also return 30 Salem Road. I see the homeowner is on, and I believe David
Yes, I am
is
here.
representing the architect. So hold on 1 second, I'm sorry. So they're also returning. They had proposed second floor addition, new shed dormer, increasing the front dormer, all cedar shake, new Anderson windows to match existing new overhang on the side door. The board requested the architect study the rear windows that were not proportioned and more balanced.
Good evening to the members of the board. My name is David Arango. I working for Mr. Rui Arriano, representing Mrs. Tedesco and Mr. Todd Harold. According with the comments from the members of the board for the last meeting, we made some changes in the plans and also in the rear elevation. And if you see I can share my screen. You see my screen?
No.
No.
Now?
Yes.
Okay. We're looking for giving more balance in the back of the elevation because some of the windows was like a little, we can say disorganized. Now we create like the windows in the top windows in this size align a little bit better with the windows in the kitchen. And those new windows we put in together, to create the balance in that space. We're still in the debate of this one because in the second floor, if you see it here, we have the space, in the master bedroom. I mean, the window there is, is this one here. This is the windows existing in the existing garage. But we move the window in the bottom to align it a little bit with the window in the bottom. We continue with to create in the front elevation, we keep the existing shake siding with a cobblestone color. And we try to break in a little bit in the second floor to put in, a vertical siding with the hardy board. And, to make like a little accent in that area to make the things a little bit different, to see the second floor combined like that.
Comments, anyone?
Just I missed last week, the master bedroom windows are cut into that little low roof line because what reason? On the rear elevation?
Because the second floor has two levels. Let me show you in the plan, we have this step. This one is like, we can say it's the main level, but
Right.
the master bedroom is dropped like maybe 2 feet.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That is the reason the windows are a bit lower. Because if you see in the elevation, you see this. Now we have the steps over there.
Okay. Can I see the side elevation real quick?
Yes.
Oh, I see. There it is.
Here you see, how we create the new dormer, to accommodate this one and the dormer to make this part from the master bedroom.
Okay.
And then did we discuss there's no window on that side elevation because on the upper level, because did we discuss that last time, Daisy?
No, we did not.
On there?
At the bathroom, what room is up there?
The bathroom is here.
No, yeah, there it is. Is that the elevation? That's what we're talking about, right up there?
Yeah,
It would be in the shower, it would be in the shower or?
the shower or next to here, but the thing is,
Well, can you get a clear story up high over the mirror, over the sinks?
to make like tall windows over the vanity. You mean?
Somewhere, I'm just, thinking of a place that would look good on the outside, but be realistic and practical on the inside too.
Oh, hey guys, sorry, it's Holly. I'm just, as we think about that, I'm a little concerned. It's a pretty small bathroom. So just want to make sure from a privacy standpoint, there's a house right next door.
Right. Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm okay with.
All right, it's fine.
Yeah, I think they made a lot of effort to accommodate the other facades. Joe, anything?
Yeah, no, I think it looks good. I missed the previous meeting, but I think generally it looks good, consistent.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We appreciate it. And you're approved.
Thanks. Really appreciate the feedback, guys. Take care.
Have a good
Bye.
night.
Right.
Good night.
Okay, our next application is Bill Spade, 250 Pines Bridge Road.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Hello.
Nice to see you all. Do you see the aerial photo
Yes.
on the screen already? Great. So I'll take you through what we're proposing. And the owner of the property, I think Jerome Marucci, is on the call as well. This lot is on Pines Bridge Road. You see the aerial here. If you can see my cursor, it's the property here. The main house is where I'm circling there. There's a detached garage behind it. And then this tennis court is also part of the property. Property lines are kind of faint through here, going all the way around. The application is two components. One is to replace a pergola on the front of the house, which is technically the front of the house, over an existing patio, and replace that with a roof so that they can make better use of that patio space. And the second one is to enlarge the existing detached garage, which is presently 2 bays, and make it into a 3-bay garage and add an attic space above. So we'll go through that. Here is the site plan. I'm going to enlarge it for a moment here and again show you these components that we're proposing. Sorry, went too far there.
Oh, so they're in Newcastle and Yorktown?
Correct. You see the line bisects their property. So the house is in the Newcastle portion, but the other portion of the property is in the town of Yorktown. Yes.
We get to pay taxes to both, so that's great.
Really?
Yes.
So again, you see the house, the main house here, the covered porch we're proposing to do on what is technically the front of the house, and then the detached garage behind, the hatched areas being where the proposed work is. I'll show you pictures of the existing house. So when I talk about the front of the house, this is what you see even from the middle of the yard in front of the house, obviously in the summertime. The house used to be, the house used to be up along Pines Bridge Road. And it was, I think, originally built in the mid 1800s, maybe even earlier, and was actually relocated to this hilltop where it presently is now. And we'll see a couple of pictures. So it's very heavily screened from Pines Bridge Road. You can obviously, you can hardly see the front of the house. This is what the front of the house looks like, perched on top of the hill. So this pergola is what we're proposing to replace with a solid roof so that is very sunny spot, especially in the summertime. It's very uncomfortable to be out there, and the Marucci's would like to make it a more usable patio space. The pergola would get removed, and I'll show you the drawings of it. The columns would actually be shortened to accommodate the slightly pitched roof. All the stone walls, the stone piers would all remain, and it's just a matter of shortening the columns and then installing a roof. The windows, the siding, all of the existing portions of the house would also remain. By the way, you can see the original structure in the middle here. And again, I think it's from the early to mid 1800s. Various components have been added over the years. It's not a historically designated house in the town, but it is definitely a historic house. Here is a picture of the rear of the house. The Marucci's actually constructed this addition several years ago. Using similar detailing to the existing house, and the work we're doing is going to maintain that detailing. Here is a photo of the detached garage that we're going to enlarge. You see it's presently 2 bays, and then with a door into a storage area, we're going to expand the garage to create a 3rd bay, and then add a sloped roof on top to create a attic space above for additional storage. Now I'll show you the plans. This is a plan that shows the proposed new roof over the front patio, the existing house there. It would be a standing seam metal roof. And again, as I mentioned, we're keeping the existing piers. There's existing enclosures around structural wood posts that we're going to shorten those enclosures and then reinstall them because they're nicely done. And so maintain that aesthetic. And here I'll show you the elevations of the whole house there, and this enlarged one. Sorry, get that, make that a little larger so you can see the. Sorry for the.
While you're flipping around, is
Sorry.
the eave line of the covered porch going to be parallel with the house, but the columns won't be?
Correct. Yeah. Unfortunately, that you notice, Stanley, the stone piers and the stone wall are at a very slight angle to the house, so we have to maintain that. But the proposing that the roof would still be squared to the house. I can go back to the plan and show that. So that would mean that the overhang changes slightly. We could debate to skew the outer edge of the roof as well in plane with the columns, which would create some level of warping to the roof. And we're just not sure that that's the right answer versus just having this slightly larger overhang as the column line recesses back.
Right. But in this scheme, all the columns will be the same height. The girder is going to have to change size.
Correct.
Height. Okay.
Right.
Okay. No, that's fine. It just, I noticed it was skewed. So
Yeah. So that's the elevations. I don't know if you need to see the enlarged one at all. There's the larger version, which I think maintains a nice elegance to it.
that looks fine to me.
I'll show you now the garage. Here's the reduce this a little bit. The garage floor plan. You can see dashed lines here for the existing footprint. So we're enlarging the garage to the front to create a deeper parking area. There's an existing storage area behind. Actually, right now, there's a concrete slab for the existing garage area, and then the storage area behind is a wood frame floor. So we're maintaining that wood frame floor, expanding it for the additional bay, and then adding more concrete slab to create the third bay. And in fact, even right now, this area to the left where that storage area is on the left side is also a wood frame floor, which we're going to remove and then create foundation and backfill that to create a slab for this, the whole garage area. But again, we also had to enlarge it to the front to create enough depth for parking. Right now it's very tight, it's 17 feet square in the 2 garage bays for the cars. So it's a very tight parking condition at the moment. And as I mentioned, we're doing an attic space above. And actually we're going to create a little bridge link from the raised grade adjacent to it to get to more conveniently to that attic space. I'll show you the front elevation right down here. As you can see both this is the new front elevation and this is the right side elevation. You see the 3D representation here on the left for the aesthetic of the new garage. The existing garage, 2 existing garage doors are going to be reinstalled and purchase a 3rd garage door to match the 2 existing ones. Very nicely done. I can go back to show you that photo. Then we're adding a dormer above that with an operable door in the event of wanting to be able to move things up into the attic space from the driveway level. But as I mentioned, we're also going to build this bridge over from the side grade. And you can see in the front elevation that the grade of the house, which still continues further up from here, is essentially 1 level up. So for easier access to that attic space, we're building this little deck bridge. I'll show you the other 2 elevations. The left side here, windows up in the attic level, and then smaller windows on the at the garage level. And then the rear elevation here, the grade actually comes down, and below that framed floor for the storage area at the rear, there's also a basement, accessible basement area, which is what this door goes into. So that's existing. However, the new bay that we're going to add, we're just going to leave that open air, have a column at the corner to support that outer corner. You see that represented in this elevation. The topography here, the grade continues down fairly steeply. This is all highly vegetated, and so there's no view of this from the neighboring properties at all. And that's our presentation.
I think it looks great.
Surprised you're saving the thing. Did you think about tearing it down and just rebuilding it? You're doing so much now.
The garage.
Oh yeah, that's the garage.
Yeah, we're actually taking it down to the slab level of the existing garage. So the existing walls are coming down. Yeah, but we're keeping that existing foundation as that's there. Sort of building around that.
And you're going to leave this corner with a column wide open to the elements like that? You're right,
Yeah.
no, just kind of weird, but.
Yeah, it'll be expensive to try to get access to that zone. I can show you a picture of it's a very difficult access to the back here. So very costly to try to excavate footings and build foundation walls in this back corner. So we're just going to add this pier. Right now, this is open air, and the existing foundation is roughly back where this one is. So just for the easier construction, adding this pier to support that corner.
Okay, so it looks nice.
Looks good.
Okay,
All right.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank
Have
you.
a good evening.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
night, Bill.
Good night.
Okay. Our next application is a sign for Bentley Jane, which is going in the Chappaqua building. Anyone here for 73 South Greeley? Okay.
Looks like we just have Simon Cohen.
Yeah, it looks like we'll move on to House to Home, 37 King Street, which is located right by where Wee's Acupuncture was.
Evening.
Hi, Simon. Okay, can you share your screen? If you can't,
I've never done this before, so please excuse me.
Oh, you're doing it.
Okay. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
I'm brand new to this, so please excuse my not knowing what to do.
Okay, so if you could just tell us what you are doing, material.
Okay.
Are you the
So
sign company or the proprietor?
I own the store. We are interior design, home furnishings, window treatments and upholstery. And there was originally an awning above the full width of the store. I'm looking to install a aluminum sign, 1 inch thick and 24 inches high and 96 inches wide, centered over the door. And then remove one of those existing lights, remove one completely and move one across to illuminate the sign. Those lights were existing originally.
This is just a flat aluminum sign with
Flat
what are the-
aluminum sign with vinyl lettering. There's a new sign just around the corner for Christie's. They did the same thing. So I went with that. That was appealing to me, and I hope with you as well.
Who wants to start? I mean,
Is Christie's new? Because I don't recall them coming to the ARB.
Yeah, I don't either.
They are new.
Yeah.
Is that real estate office?
Yes. It's right next to Starbucks on Greeley.
Huh.
Do you happen to have pictures of the signs, the neighboring signs?
Hang on a minute, please. But the answer is yes. I just got to try and find it.
Also, guys, to me, this is still kind of a historic-ish building, even if it's not maintained the way it should be. And this looks like a Band-Aid just spanked up on the building. It doesn't line up with anything. It's just this bright white on a neutral background. And
If you stop sharing your screen, I can show what you provided to us.
I was going to try and show.
If you can do it, go ahead. Otherwise, I have them. I have what you sent me, which is in the package, everyone.
I'm sorry. This is. Oh no, I apologize. I'll stop sharing, so I'll let you do it because I don't want to make a mistake.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Okay.
It looks like a wood sign, the Christie's. It's very thick.
yeah, and that fits in its space, it's proportioned properly. It's got to be engraved. That doesn't look like it's painted letters, is it?
That's not engraved.
Is it not?
It's not engraved.
That's a flat metal sign, the same as mine.
Well, somehow it seems to fit in its space and reflect the building's colors far better.
The store is about 22 feet in width. And I didn't want to put too big a space and have too much blank area.
Well, couldn't it be raised to be under the sills instead of overlapping on the stucco of the door frame? And it just spanked up on the building.
It can be raised, yes.
Does it have to be?
What if it was,
It might look better over the window, the
yeah, that's
big
what I was about
window.
to say.
From edge to edge.
Centered over the big window.
Mhm.
The window, that triple window is 12 feet wide.
It won't feel as random, I don't think, there,
Okay.
because it'll be kind of anchored on the top and the bottom with those, two bays of windows.
Would you want the sign stretched to match the 12 feet, or is that 8 foot still okay with you?
Mm,
The 8 feet is fine as long as it's centered above that
Yeah.
window.
I think the proportions on the photo montage is not really 2 foot by 8 foot compared to your 2D drawing. It looks a little sleeker on the 2D drawing because it's stretched out a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't mind if it was stretched out a little wider if it's going to go over the window.
Well, I wouldn't mind some air around the logo.
Yeah.
Okay.
So more white space or whatever color this is.
And is that background, is that your company colors? I mean, doesn't look the same as the white frame of the trims of the windows. It doesn't.
That hasn't been painted in this picture. That's just old paintwork.
So is
Okay.
the background going to just be
The window frame, that triple window and the single to the right of the door will be white.
So what if the background of the sign was white? Would that be better?
The background is white.
what's the light orange? Where is that?
The orange on the sign.
No, well, I'm looking at the specs here and it says you have orange and then you have light orange.
I think it's on the word 2.
I apologize. I thought it was all the same color orange.
Is it supposed to match the door orange? Is that an intention?
Yes.
And I think the letters TO are in the light orange and the circle is.
Oh, those aren't dropout from the background.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I think it would make much more sense over your big picture window. Because it almost looks like you're centered and you're encompassing the door to the right also. It just doesn't look right. So I would definitely put it over to the left.
Okay.
What is Fastened using previously approved hardware? We didn't approve anything.
The sign company did that, so I apologize if that's an error.
Is it hidden? Is it going to be just screwed onto the wall? I mean, how is it going to
No,
be?
it's hidden. It's hidden behind the sign, like a Z bracket, I believe. So you will not see the fixings from the sign.
So the aluminum's actually 1 inch in depth, like the Christie's one?
Yes.
And on the side, are you going to see an edge? Is there a 1 inch trim piece on the edge?
What? Well, the aluminum is being folded, so it wraps around the frame.
Uh-huh.
So you'll see a 1 inch white strip.
Where's the lighting being moved to?
And what is the existing lighting?
If I'm going to move, if you want me to move the sign to above the window, I'll leave that light in place and remove the one on the right above the door and the single window.
But that lighting was probably for the awning, right? When there was an awning. So I don't know, does it bounce up? Does it bounce down? What does the light do?
Yeah. What is it? I mean, it looks like a fluorescent tube almost.
It is, but I would replace it with something that's new, similar to what Christie's has, but have it lighting up to the sign.
Can I also make a suggestion on the layout of your type? Do you see on the E how close it is to the circle,
Yes.
orange circle?
Yep.
Yet you don't have that same proportion on the other side with the H and the circle.
Okay.
I would even it out and give it more air. So I would match the space that you have on the right of the circle.
If that's fine. From what I listening to what you're saying is moving over to above the triple window, the main window, and I will have their space then to stretch it out more to then give it more space.
Mm-hmm.
What about having some gooseneck lights or something that might feel better on the building and reusing a lamp that was made for the awning?
Okay. Again, this is not my area of expertise, so I appreciate your guidance. Will you need to see another rendering, or if I just agree to moving it to where you suggested, is that okay? I don't know how this works.
I think we'd like to see it come back.
Okay.
It's unfortunate a big building like that doesn't have a building standard, so the same lighting would, there's multiple tenant building now. But that's not his fault.
Is this the one right next to so then to the left, that's not where the garden is.
No, that's around the corner. This is King Street.
Oh, this is on King Street. So.
Is that the bookstore to the left, the scattered books?
Oh, so it's a bookstore or whatever that store is.
It is a bookstore.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
But when you come back, we need to see the specific light that you're going to propose and how it's going to be wired to that light.
Okay.
Ah, the acupuncturist is above.
It might be.
The acupuncture sign that we had approved is right here under this lighting.
The acupuncturist has actually left the building. Sorry to make you laugh.
Okay.
Can you also maybe, as long as you're going to come back, can you come take a shot further back that extends, the rest of the building in the photo too?
Of course.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next meeting is March 2nd.
Okay.
So if you can get me everything that they've requested 1 week prior to, which I think is the 23rd,
Okay.
then I can put you on the agenda.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody.
Yep. Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. I don't think
They should clean that building up.
We need to have a signage program guy. I mean, we need to get away from, flat vinyl metal signs. I mean, if anybody, Lisa responded and asked for comments from us. If anybody.
I mean, I don't necessarily love engraved signs. I don't think they should all be engraved. I think it's a little too traditional for me. So I'm okay with flat signs, but
yeah, I don't think they ought to be uniform either, but I find this to be kind of on the low common denominator side.
Well, partly because the design's not right. I think if the design was better, it would be a better sign, but
nobody else have comments?
The lighting is horrible. That lighting was horrible.
Well, the building needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah, the building needs to be unified, and somebody needs to manage that building, the building standards. It's unfortunate. It's a nice old building.
Yeah.
Looks awful. All right.
all right, everyone. Our next
Okay.
meeting is the 2nd. Good night.
Thank you.
All right, good
Have a
night.
good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.